cannot breathe. I cannot breathe.
You just a grown, you're a tough guy. You're a tough guy, huh? I say you're a tough guy. You're not even resisting arrest, bro.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? Eric Mulder here with Code Red Conversations. In this video, I'll be discussing the recent death of a black man in Minneapolis involving the police. We're gonna jump right into things in this video. I'm gonna share with you the footage and come back and I'm gonna discuss it. Just a word of warning, it's pretty disturbing. So viewer discretion is advised.
I cannot breathe. I cannot breathe.
You just a grown, you're a tough guy. You're a tough guy, huh? I say you're a tough guy. You're not even resisting arrest, bro.
His whole nose is
Fought with him?
Bro, but why you just sitting there? He ain't doing nothing now. Put him in the car.
How long y'all gotta hold him down?
This is why you don't do drugs, kids.
It ain't about drugs, bro. Y'all understand that?
Y'all don't gotta put y'all right.
He is human, bro.
His nose is
What I'm saying, you
bleeding.
can put him in the car. That's some
We
bum
tried
ass
that
shit.
for 10 minutes.
That's some bum ass shit, bro. That's some bum ass shit, bro. Y'all know that. You don't gotta sit there with your knee on his neck, bro.
He's talking, he's fine.
Bro, he ain't climbing.
Watching it the
Bro,
whole
you
time
just
to the
got
camera.
back out here, bro.
You guys right now.
Bro, he doesn't have it, bro. He's not fucking moving.
No, did they fucking kill him, bro?
Bro,
They
bro,
didn't kill him
what
or
is you,
something.
1087, bro? You're a
Oh
bum,
my
bro. Or
God,
987, bro? You're a bum.
was just
First thing you
alive.
want to grab is your mace because you scared, bro. Scared of fucking minorities, you fucking bum, bro. Like, bro, 3 minutes, bro. He's not fucking moving. Bro, he's not even fucking moving. Get off of his fucking neck, bro. Get off of his neck. Yes, look at
Get
that,
back on the
bro.
street.
Are you serious? Bro, are you serious? And you gonna keep your thing on your neck? Yeah, I bet you. Bro, we, bro, I barely touch me like that, dude. I swear I'll slap the fuck out of both of y'all.
I didn't want to call the ambulance.
Bro, he's just gonna let him keep his hand on his neck, bro? You're a bitch, bro. Tao, you gonna let him keep that like that? You gonna let him kill that man in front of you, bro? Huh?
Like what?
Bro, he's not even fucking moving right now, bro. He's not even fucking moving.
This is what it is. We gotta deal with this shit.
Bro.
As those of you who have followed my YouTube channel know that I always make the effort to give the benefit of the doubt in any investigation. That's always my initial goal, to allow time to go by to see if there's more data, more information that could possibly impact the circumstances that we see in some of the videos that we watch. We live in a day and age where it's all about the quick video clip, and oftentimes those quick video clips or quick interactions don't always tell the whole story. In the desire to be fair and consider the totality of the circumstances, as I often quote, I always try to be patient. I always try to wait. In this case, I don't know if that's necessary to wait. Why do I say that? Is because as a police officer, as a law enforcement officer for over 20 years, as a defensive tactics trainer, it is defensive tactics, police training 101. As the threat of the situation lowers or de-escalates, the amount of force that you use, you lower to an appropriate level as you're dealing with the threat. Let me give you a little bit of the facts. Remember what I just said. Let me give you a little bit of the data on this case, and then I'll get back to my breakdown, my issues, the tremendous amount of issues that I have with this incident. This is from Newsweek. A video of a black man complaining that he cannot breathe while a white police officer in Minneapolis, Minnesota pins him down with a knee on his neck has circulated widely online. The emphasis is going to be, regardless of the circumstance, the primary emphasis will be that this is a white officer and a black suspect. And that's a problem in and of itself, but that's the world we're living in right now. But I don't even want to make that the primary focus of my problems here, because that's the media, an election cycle is going on. So that's going to come with the territory, but I will address that later on. And the FBI and the state's Bureau of Criminal Apprehension has been called in to investigate the Monday evening detention. The man died shortly later after being taken to a nearby hospital. "I can't breathe, officer," the man yelled in his clip as a white police officer holds him down. I cannot breathe. I cannot breathe. So I know there's going to be a lot of opinion on all sides. There are going to be some people that say, well, you shouldn't resist the police so you won't get put in that situation. Okay, you shouldn't resist the police. I'm 100% in agreement with you. You shouldn't resist the police. I've made videos that reference to the fact that the best way to deal with the police, regardless of whether you think the arrest is a lawful one or an unlawful one, is to comply. I've spoken on that on countless occasions. However, that does not negate the fact that an officer has to use proper technique, proper tactics while attempting to restrain a suspect. There is nowhere, unless you are dealing with a deadly force incident where you grab, where you deal with the neck, where you deal with someone's spinal area. That is to be avoided at all costs, unless you are in a life or death struggle, deadly force encounter. And in this case, it is clear that the suspect is restrained. He was in handcuffs. Now, I'm not saying that someone can't continue to be resistant and can't continue to be a problem, even though while in handcuffs, but the mere fact that he was on the ground, he was in cuffs, and that officer had his knee on his neck is utterly insane and as foolish as one can be and careless as one can be with their tactics. There are so many ways one can restrain a suspect, a combative suspect, if he is properly trained. And he wasn't alone. The officer wasn't alone. There were other officers there. Yes, they were dealing with the crowd. That was a potential issue. But your greatest concern at that time is to restrain the suspect properly. I'm not saying he shouldn't have been restrained, but that knee on his neck, with the risk of spinal cord damage, with the risk of cutting off his airway, they had already stated that there were medical concerns. They believed he was under the influence. And the fact that he was combative, you couple all those factors together and you have a recipe for someone dying. When it's all said and done, people aren't going to be thinking about the fact that he was under the influence or he was combative, because the amount of force needed has completely changed. He is on the ground. You are in control. Secure his legs if necessary. Have another officer secure his upper body at the shoulders. Never the neck. So these officers opened up a can of worms that they're not going to be able to close. And they're going to have to deal with this. Now, where this case ends up, I have no idea. Considering the hostile climate we have been in pretty much since 2014 or so, when it comes to police relations, and particularly when we're talking about black and white, if you are an officer and you're within the sound of my voice, you have to do everything within your power to make sure that you police rightly. If you aren't confident in your skills, defensive skills, then you need to get confident. There are so many ways to restrain a suspect who is combative, especially when you have multiple officers, where you put them and yourself at the least amount of risk. Many ways. And when the officer is careless in situations, in conflicts like this, you aren't the only one. The individual officer isn't the only one that is impacted. And I want folks out there to hear me on this. It affects the entire industry. There are already a tremendous amount of falsehoods and misinformation that's being spread. Why give the opposition, why give those people out there who already hate or mistrust or who question the police more ammunition? Why give them more fuel for the fire by being stupid? Why? I just don't get it. This is a tragic situation, a tragic video. And like I said from the beginning, I don't see how there could be any additional information that could change my perspective on this. Even if the guy was a deadly threat, once he's down on the ground and he's being secured, everything changes. Everything changes. The amount of force needed changes. Unfortunately, we're in an election cycle and people are going to use this as more excuse why you can't trust the police and why you can't trust the powers that be. The system is racist. quote unquote, and they're going to take this. The old saying goes, I think Rahm Emanuel was one of the first ones to coin it, never let a crisis go to waste. Trust me that those on the political left in particularly are going to use this to their advantage, to the best of their ability. In the meantime, for my brothers and sisters out there in law enforcement, do whatever it takes to get your skills up to par, get your physical fitness up to par, get your tactics up to par, your communication ability up to par, so that you minimize the chance or the need to ever put yourself in a situation like this. Thanks for watching. In the meantime, stay safe, God bless, and make sure you join the conversation.